I'm Dr. Brian, and in today's video, we're gonna go over the 3 best shoulder rehab exercises that you should be doing and most traditional sports rehab doesn't do. If you've been dealing with a shoulder issue and it's not getting better, this is the video for you. We're gonna go over these 3 best exercises that I love to give my clients in my office, and I'm gonna give you an added bonus exercise at the end, so make sure you stick around for that. Now, let's get moving. So with this band pull apart exercise, what we are doing is we're gonna make sure that we start with our hands outside of our shoulders and our thumbs are up towards the ceiling. Now, one thing that most people get wrong with this exercise is they don't keep their elbows locked out. This is one of the most important aspects or priorities of this drill. So when I do the actual band pull apart, I'm gonna actually push my shoulder blades down towards my back pockets, and then I'm gonna pull the band as far apart as I can where I feel that tension in my shoulder blades. That is the key of this exercise, is to make sure the tension stays right through the shoulder blades. You're not feeling it through the front of the shoulder or through that upper trap or neck area. One thing I see a lot of people do is that as they do this, they either bend the elbows or their thumbs turn in, which puts a lot of extra stress on the trap. So as long as your thumbs stay up and your elbows stay locked out, you are going to get the most effective activation of your rotator cuff and shoulder stabilizers with this drill. I recommend that you do this for a set or 2. We're looking for somewhere in that 10 to 15 rep range, making sure you keep that tension through your shoulder blades the entire time. So this next exercise is really, really effective and important to make sure that you relearn how to engage your rotator cuff and your shoulder stabilizers when you're going into an overhead motion. And that's why we're gonna do this wall slide with lift off. So for this exercise, I'm going to show you without the band, then I'll show you how to do it with the band. The band is the progression of this movement. So without the band, what we're going to do is we're going to set up with our hands outside of our shoulders and our thumbs facing backwards. That's going to really make sure the rotator cuff muscles are engaged. From here, I'm going to drive my hands up the wall and keep my shoulder blades down towards my back pockets. When I'm in this position, I should feel all that tension right through the back side of my shoulders, not through the front of my shoulder, not through my neck muscles. If you do, you may have to start going a little bit wider versus more of that overhead, which is okay. Once you can create that good shoulder blade tension all the way to the top, you're gonna use that tension in your shoulder blades to slowly lift your arms off the wall and then come back. What we wanna make sure that you're doing is you're trying to keep those elbows as straight as possible, and we want to make sure that you're not just arching your back. So you want to make sure that you keep your abs engaged as you go through this motion, and as I lift off, and as I come back down. So to see it again, all in one motion, thumbs are backwards, outside of my hands. I slide my hands up the wall, keeping that tension in my shoulder blades. I use that tension in my shoulder blades to come off the wall, elbows straight, not arching, come back down. Once you're able to do about 10 to 12 reps with good form, that's when you want to add the resistance of the band. So with the band, all we're doing is we're just holding it in a cup of our fingers, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So I start in the same position, thumbs are still backwards. I'm just keeping the band tight. So I'm not pulling it apart as I go up. And then once I'm at the top and I come off the wall, I'm just making sure my thumbs stay backwards. I don't let my thumbs turn in at all. When my thumbs turn in, that's when we're going to start creating some compensatory patterns where I might be using traps or delts or something I don't want to use with this. So to see it again in full motion, I'm just going to start here, thumbs are backwards, get to the top, elbows straight, come off the wall, keeping elbows straight and thumbs backwards, back to the wall, back down. Again, we're looking for about 2 sets, somewhere in that 8 to 15 rep range to get a really good burn through the back side of the shoulders, which is going to really help in engaging the right muscles to get the stress off of the shoulder joint. So our third movement is going to be this resisted overhead press. Now for this exercise, you do need the band, and you might say, well, I don't have a squat rack at home, I can't do this. What you can do is you can just place a towel or t-shirt through the band. You could throw it over the top of a door, like a closet, and then just make sure the door is closed, and that's going to be just as effective. I will also put a link below to a product that you can also attach the band to that will make sure that you can keep that band in place, so that'll be in the description below as well. So what we're doing for this exercise is very similar to what we were doing before. We're just adding more resistance. So now I'm going to have my hands outside my shoulders, thumbs are backwards again, but now what I'm going to do it with this band is I'm going to press out to about a 45. And when I do that and I keep this good position, I can really feel that tension in my shoulder blades. Once I feel that tension, I'm going to use that tension to control my arms going back to an overhead position, and then I'm going to come straight back down like I'm doing an overhead press. What this does is this really helps anchor those shoulder blades and really helps get that control of those rotator cuff muscles to the shoulder joint, which is one of the main reasons why we have shoulder pain, which I'll explain more in another video. So with this exercise, just make sure that those hands stay outside your shoulders. You're punching out to that 45 to get your elbow straight, and then you're going up as high as you can where those thumbs stay backwards and they don't turn in. You're going to come back down and you'll repeat this for 8 to 15 reps. All right, so now for that bonus that I promised you. This is a great stretch that I recommend that you can do before you do these activation drills. That's going to really help open up those lats to make sure you can get the right muscles to fire most effectively. And what this is just an overhead stretch that you can just simply use at a counter. So all I'm doing is keeping my hands outside of my shoulders and I'm pushing my body away from that surface that I'm holding onto, just like I'm doing a push-up. So as I do that and I keep a little bit more pressure towards my pinkies, I'm going to feel a really good stretch right through the outside of my shoulder, right through those lat muscles. And then once I get into that stretch position with my elbow straight, I'm going to hold it for a second or two. I'm going to come out and then I'm going to push even harder and try to push my head through my shoulders a little bit more. And I'm only holding it for 2-3 seconds, but as I do this for 10 to 15 reps, you'll see that you can get through more and more of that range of motion each time that you do it. So with this exercise, you want to spend about a minute doing this, which should equate to about 10 to 15 reps. You're going to, once you're done, feel really loose through that portion of the outside of your shoulders, which is going to be really effective to do the other exercises even more effectively. So in this video, we went over the 3 best shoulder rehab exercises that I love to give my clients. We did the band pull-aparts, we did the wall slides with lift-off, and then we finished with the resisted overhead press, and as a bonus, we also did that shoulder stretch that you can do literally anywhere. If you guys have any questions about any of these exercises, please drop them in the comments below. If you tried them, they help, please let me know below as well. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel and get notified for all the great content we're putting out.